Thank you for taking the time to watch this video on the proposed changes to the 2022-23 Safety Plan. The changes we are proposing are to the common emergency signals and actions of the Safety Plan. The aim of this video will be to go over the current common emergency signals and actions in our Safety Plan, identify the limitations of how they currently work, learn about alternatives and assess the changes, and review a timeline for the changes if we receive favorable feedback. First, we want to go over what the common emergency signals and actions are. Our current emergency signals and actions cover fire, earthquake, lockdown, shelter in place, and all clear. Each incident currently has a verbal command or signal. Fire currently has two verbal commands. The first one is, "Your attention please. Please evacuate all buildings. Evacuate all buildings. Teachers and scholars are to evacuate to their designated assembly area. Lock doors as you are exiting. Evacuate all buildings." And the second one is, "Your attention please. Off-site evacuation, off-site evacuation. Teachers and scholars report to the off-site assembly area. Lock doors as you exit. Off-site evacuation." There are two verbal commands to distinguish the location of where to evacuate. Earthquakes have one verbal command. The command is, "Your attention please. Duck cover and hold on. Duck cover and hold on." Lockdowns have a general command that identifies the type of lockdown, soft or hard lockdown. The command is, "This is not a drill. Blank is locking down the campus. All scholars and teachers safely get to your classrooms or closest classroom and lock the doors and cover outside windows." This is a hard, soft lockdown. When the incident requires a shelter in place, the verbal command is, "Your attention please. Shelter in place. Shelter in place. Scholars and staff are to remain inside the building away from the outside air with windows closed and doors securely closed and air conditioning units turned off. All scholars and staff who are outside are to immediately move to the protection of an inside room. Once an incident has been cleared, we announce, "Your attention please. All clear. All clear. All clear. It is now okay to resume normal school activities. Thank you all for your cooperation." Some of the limitations we have identified are that the verbal commands could be too lengthy, confusing, or hard to follow during an actual emergency situation. The current verbal commands can also take time away from being able to get a handle on the emergency. Because these signals and actions are used for drills, we would like to know about your school's experience. In this survey, please let us know about past drill experiences or about any challenges you've had. Now we want to share about the proposed changes. The proposed changes to the plan come from a foundation called I Love You Guys, started in 2006 by the parents of a young lady named Emily, who was a victim of a school shooting. Her parents started the foundation in hopes of aiding schools in safety, preparedness, and reunification. The foundation is currently being used at 30,000 school agencies and organizations across the U.S., Canada, and 11 other countries. They work with administrators, psychologists, public safety experts, families, and first responders to develop data-driven research based on experience and best practices. They research the issues, identify the missing pieces, develop programs, collaborate and refine them, create educational materials, advocate the programs, and train students, cops, and educators on their programs. The changes we are proposing would incorporate the I Love You Guys Standard Response Protocol, or SRP. I Love You Guys describes the SRP as a classroom response enhancement for critical incidents designed to provide consistent, clear, shared language and actions among all students, staff, and first responders. The specific parts of the SRP that we would integrate would be their version of our common emergency signals and actions. The signals for fire in the SRP would be evacuate, and we would provide the location of the evacuation. This would be repeated 2 times. An example of this could be, evacuate to the parking lot, evacuate to the parking lot. Earthquake would be, shelter for earthquake, duck cover and hold on. Shelter for earthquake, duck cover and hold on. Soft lockdowns would be, secure, get inside, lock outside doors. Secure, get inside, lock outside doors. A hard lockdown would look like, lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight. Lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight. Shelter in place would be shelter and then provide the hazard and our safety strategy and repeat this twice. An example of this could be shelter, tornado, get to the storm shelter. Shelter, tornado, get to the storm shelter. The advantages we identified in changing the current emergency signals and actions to the I Love You Guys SRP are that the verbal commands use shorter, standardized vocabulary. It would allow for a rapid response because there isn't a need to listen for additional information. It is action-based and it is easy to understand. The way we would integrate the SRP would be to change the safety plan to reflect the SRP, have an I Love You Guys team member train us on the SRP protocol in the summer, and for the home office to provide schools with templates and resources for schools to use to implement the changes at their school site. Now that I have covered the changes that we are proposing, I want to provide you all with a timeline of the changes if you vote in favor of the change. We are using part of the month of May to gather feedback from SOMS principals and teachers. If the feedback is positive, then we will implement the SRP to the safety plan and conduct our final reviews by May 23rd. Schools will receive the updated safety plan by June 20th, and SOMS and home office business ops staff would have an SRP training in July. The safety plan with school revisions would then be due on July 22nd. Now, my ask of you is to please provide us with your honest feedback in the survey. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at jelopez@laalliance.org.